chefs. I'm back after yet another brief hiatus. I know I have a tendency to do really big productions when it comes to cooking dishes. And if I'm to be honest, it's actually because I'm trying to teach myself how to cook these things. However, I know a lot of you guys probably don't want to spend 3 hours making something. So periodically, I am going to focus on really simple dishes to help you guys pick up, well, some of the basics. If you visit my profile at youtube.com/Flawedartist, you'll see that I've enabled moderator. Make sure to go there and list some of the ideas for things that you would like to see me make. But the big thing is keep it simple. To kick things off, I'm going to focus on something that I know all of you guys love. Grilled cheese. When it comes to making something as simple as grilled cheese, it's really all about the ingredients that you choose to use. And with that, I'm going to take you to one of my favorite places to go grocery shopping, the Ferry Building Farmers Market.
There is no better way to start a weekend than to wake up early on a Saturday and hit the farmer's market. California is the state where most of the food comes from, so I am lucky to get direct access to farm fresh produce. Again, when we're looking at simple dishes, it's all about the ingredients. And for our grilled cheese, I hit up Cowgirl Creamery. I did this to taste a handful of the cheese before I settled on what I brought home. Now, you don't need to find a grocer with a cheese counter, but do make sure you pick cheese that you like and you know will go together very well. Grilled cheese is really made with 3 main ingredients: cheese, bread, and butter. And depending on the kind of cheese and bread you select, that can really dictate the kind of flavors that you can introduce to your grilled cheese. The first cheese that I selected is a really sharp cheddar. This is typically traditional when it comes to grilled cheese, and the sorts of things that you can introduce with a sharp cheddar are things like bacon and tomato. The next cheese that I selected is actually a really soft goat's milk cheese that's been infused with truffle. This is going to be really great because as it melts, it's going to give that really gooey kind of mozzarella type finish. And for the third one, I actually chose a goat's cheese. Now this particular goat's cheese I really like because the rind on the outside, when it melts, kind of gives it this brie-like appearance. It's really delicious. And for my bread, I actually chose Acme sourdough, so I cut that really, really thick, and you want to toast your bread just a little bit before you start putting together the pieces. It'll hold up much better once you start grilling it. Now before we start assembling our sandwich, I'm going to add just a little bit of homemade mayonnaise that has a little bit of a lemon aftertaste and just a touch of butter. Again, whatever you add to your sandwich, you want to make sure that it complements the other flavors that are going into the grilled cheese. Now when it comes to actually adding the cheese, make sure to not overdo it. Confession, I actually did that a little bit. This is especially important if you're adding multiple cheeses because you don't want a sandwich to be so big that it's not going to melt when it's actually in the pan. So be a little reserved when you're layering it. If you do want to make a really tall grilled cheese, I'll show you a trick to get around that. So once the sandwich is completely compiled together, go ahead and top with a very heavy amount of butter. Trick that I always like to do is I like to add just a little bit of Parmesan cheese just to make this really nice crust on the outside of our grilled cheese. Now before you put it in the pan, make sure there is plenty of butter already in there. Now just go ahead and start putting a heavy dose of butter on the other side and go ahead and add your Parmesan to that as well, and then let that sit on medium-low heat for about 2 minutes. Now when we're ready to flip, go ahead and do so very carefully, and if you've got a very tall sandwich like I have here, you can go ahead and add an actual cover to the frying pan. What that'll do is that'll trap the heat in, and it will make sure that all of the cheese actually melts. And cook that for another 2 minutes, and you are ready to plate.
Ooh, that is one mighty fine grilled cheese, if I do say so myself. Well, little chefs, I hope I gave you the tools you need in order to make some really amazing grilled cheese. If the mood strikes you, I invite you to record yourself making your own version of grilled cheese and post it as a reply. Don't forget to go to my profile and leave suggestions on what you'd like to see me make next. Well, little chefs, I will see you soon, and until then, take care.